The BRICS nations are considering creating their currency, which could have significant implications for the global financial system. In this video, we will explore why the BRICS nations are seeing this move and what it could mean for the rest of the world. In a world where economic control is dictated by few, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are tired of playing the game. Hello everyone, my name is Anastasia and welcome to Market Economy, a channel that provides educational content on the fascinating world of economics. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has recently told the media that during the next BRICS summit in South Africa in August, they will discuss the creation of their currency.
Серьезные, уважающие себя страны прекрасно понимают, что поставлено на карту. Они видят недоговороспособность хозяев нынешней международной валютно-финансовой системы и хотят создавать свои механизмы для обеспечения устойчивого развития, которое будет защищено от диктата извне. Именно в этом направлении идут инициативы, которые совсем недавно, буквально на днях, прозвучали о необходимости подумать о создании собственных валют в рамках БРИКС, в рамках сообщества латиноамериканских и карибских государств. И об этом, в частности, обязательно пойдет речь на саммите БРИКС, который состоится в Южноафриканской республике в конце августа, и куда приглашается группа африканских стран, включая, как я понимаю, и президента Лоуренса.
The global economy is on shaky ground. Supply interruptions, energy shortages, the food security issues haunt us all. Central banks are worried and desperate for options to diversify their currency reserves. The sanctions on Russia's reserve activities have amplified these concerns. But now the idea of a BRICS reserve currency is gaining traction, and the Chinese yuan steps into the ring as a new entrant in the reserve currency space. This new currency would include the currencies of several countries to help reduce risk and make it easier for emerging market currencies to become more popular. It could be used for transactions and investments around the world. The US dollar is used as both a means of exchange and a way to punish countries that don't align with US policies. However, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine has led some countries to use other currencies to gain independence in decision-making. The US has controlled global trade for 70 years through the dollar, but some think it's time for change and that the BRICS countries have the power to change the financial system. Countries are looking for alternative currencies like China's yuan to avoid dependence on the dollar. Russia is using China's yuan and gold to avoid the dollar, and other countries are following suit. De-dollarization is the process of removing the US dollar as a dominant international currency for reserves and payments. While not yet achieved, it has gained importance in the aftermath of the Ukrainian crisis, which saw the West impose severe sanctions on Russia. Other countries, such as Iran and Venezuela, have also been forced to de-dollarize, while China, which is actively seeking to reduce its reliance on the dollar, is seen as potentially being the decisive player in this process. Russia has been the most active in resisting the dollar's dominance, but only China has the economic weight to make a significant impact. The relationship between Russia and China, especially in the energy sector, is challenging the dollar's dominance. The two countries have signed various agreements, including the supply of natural gas to China without using the dollar. This has led to a process of de-dollarization in energy exchangers, with China increasingly purchasing Russian energy products in yuan. In this scenario, the emergence of the BRICS currency and its related payment system may be major challenges to the US dollar and the SWIFT system, the most widely used payment system in the world. The SWIFT is a system that allows banks and companies around the world to send messages about financial transactions electronically. It's based in Belgium and connects 11,000 organizations globally. The United States, which has a lot of power within SWIFT, they have 2 seats on SWIFT's board and control its chairmanship, giving it a lot of influence. They can demand information about transactions from any targeted bank. This means that the US can block country from sending, receiving, or tracking banking instructions for money transfers with other countries. This has raised concerns about the possibility of the United States blocking China's banking sector from the global payment system, as it has already done for Russia. SWIFT can also be used to apply sanctions through the global financial system to target specific individuals, entities, and activities, or to cripple an entire country. This has caused some foreign banks to stop doing business with Chinese and Russian banks or refuse non-US dollar transactions for fear of being associated with blacklisted banks or individuals. However, the creation of an alternative system to SWIFT would mark the end of the US-led globalized world model. The US dollar is facing challenges to its dominance in the world economy. One factor is China's growing relationship with Saudi Arabia, which is now trading 3 times more with China than the United States. This gives China leverage in the region, and some countries may start trading in a different currency that aligns better with their interests. The shift away from the dollar could make it more difficult for the US to finance its debt and reduce its influence in the world. Digital currencies like China's digital yuan and Russia's digital ruble are challenging the dominance of the US dollar in international trade and finance. While the US dollar is likely to remain dominant for now, the emergence of new digital currencies and the increasing use of alternative currencies could challenge its dominance in the long run. Whether you favor one side or the other, we would like to point out that the abandonment of traditional banking system and the rise of digital currencies also raise concerns about privacy or financial security. As the global financial system undergoes a significant transformation, it is important to be aware of the implications and potential consequences of these changes. Speaking of which, we have already made a video that you can see clicking the link above. But let's go back to our main topic and see what 3 interconnected things are happening that could have a big impact on the functioning of the world economy. Firstly, at the last World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, Switzerland, the finance minister of Saudi Arabia said that they might start using currencies other than the US dollar. This is significant because the US dollar has been the main currency used for international trade for a long time. Secondly, Iran and Russia are exploring the idea of using a new digital currency for trade. This means of exchange would be backed by gold and might be used in the special economic zone of Astrakhan in the Caspian Sea. This is important because it could make it easier for countries to trade without having to use the US dollar. Thirdly, the BRICS group wants to create a new decent currency to be used for trade between these countries. This new currency could include the Chinese yuan, the Singapore dollar, and the United Arab Emirates dirham. The possibility of expanding the group to include other countries such as Algeria, Iran, Argentina, and 15 more is also being considered. All of these changes could mean that in the future, the US dollar might not be the most important asset in the world. Instead, we could see a world where several currencies are used for international trade. This could have a big impact on the global economy, and it will be interesting to see how it all plays out in the coming years. In 2018, the BRICS already launched a project called BRICS Pay, which is a digital payment platform being developed by the member countries. The main goal of BRICS Pay is to allow businesses and consumers to make and receive digital payments in their local currency across different countries in the BRICS Plus format. This platform is designed to make international payments simpler and cheaper while ensuring security and reliability when paying for goods and services. BRICS Pay combines traditional payment system with new technologies like central bank digital currencies, CBDC, decentralized finance, and tokenized assets, secured money. This platform expands payment options for companies and citizens of participating countries, as well as for the entire world. BRICS Pay is a joint venture between the 5 BRICS countries as one of the top priorities in the annual report of the BRICS Business Council. The team behind BRICS Pay includes experts in payments, banking, technology, and related fields from all 5 countries. In addition, the upcoming BRICS Forum will discuss the implementation of R5 or R5+, the official BRICS currency whose name is derived from the first letters of each of group's national currencies: RMB Yuan of China, Russian Ruble, Indian Rupee, Brazilian Real, and South African Rand. The R5+ initiative is a plan to increase the use of national currencies among developing countries, particularly in the BRICS countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and their regional partners. This initiative has become increasingly important as developing economies build their own development banks and integration platforms to counter the rising protectionist pressure in the developed world. The goal of the R5+ initiative is to monetize the increasing intensity of mutual economic cooperation among BRICS countries and their regional partners through the use of national currencies. This can lead to a substantial reduction in transactions and conversion costs associated with using other currencies. Additionally, the implementation of the R5+ initiative can facilitate mutual policy coordination with international financial organizations such as the International Monetary Fund. To carry out the R5+ initiative, BRICS can use various platforms like those for development banks, sovereign wealth funds, currency and stock exchanges, payment systems, and regional financing arrangements. These platforms will make it easier to use national currencies among BRICS nations and their regional allies. The potential for increasing the use of national currencies in the BRICS Plus circle is substantial. India, Brazil, and South Africa have supported the use of local currencies in international trade, and all BRICS members have taken steps to de-dollarize their economies and increase their independence in the global financial system. The new BRICS reserve currency can work in tandem with a stronger role played by BRICS national currencies to capture a larger share of the global pie of currency transactions. Overall, the R5+ initiative, the new BRICS reserve currency, and the BRICS Pay project are aimed at promoting mutual economic cooperation among developing countries and challenging the dominance of the US dollar in the global financial system. These initiatives could help these countries increase their independence in the global financial system and establish their sphere of influence and monetary unity within that sphere. One of the main challenges that the BRICS countries face in establishing their reserve currency is the lack of a strong institutional framework to support the currency. The US dollar has the support of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, which are crucial in maintaining the currency's stability and widespread use. The BRICS countries would need to create similar institutions to support their currency. Another test is the stability and liquidity of the BRICS currencies themselves. While the Chinese yuan and the Indian rupee have become more widely traded in recent years, they are still subject to significant fluctuations and volatility. This could make it difficult for the BRICS countries to establish a stable and reliable reserve currency on their basis. Furthermore, the BRICS countries have different economic structures, which could make it difficult to maintain the stability of a common currency. For example, China is a major exporter of goods and has a large trade surplus, while Brazil is a major importer of goods and has a large trade deficit. These differences could create imbalances in the currency's value and stability. Finally, there is an issue of trust. The US dollar has been the dominant reserve currency for decades, and many countries and investors have a high level of trust in it. It may take time for the BRICS countries to establish the same level of trust and credibility for their currency. This is especially important in today's political tensions and economic uncertainties in the world. The creation of BRICS reserve currency is still in its early stages, and many difficulties needed to be overtaken before it may become a reality. However, if the BRICS countries are successful in establishing a new reserve currency, it could have far-reaching consequences for the global financial system and the balance of power between countries. If you enjoyed this video, you will surely like the next one here. If you want to support our work, just subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up.